God calls you. And God chose you. God chose you for a purpose and a destiny far exceeding anything you can even imagine. And God chose you. And God called you to a purpose not of your own. To a purpose that originated long before the sun rose in the sky, before the moon set. A purpose that originates in the grace of Christ Jesus, before time even began. You see, God called you. God called you to a life of love and forgiveness, to a life of holiness and restoration. God called you to greatness, and God called you to this purpose, to this winding path down the road of life, not based off the things that you've done, not based off of the hardships you've encountered in life, not based off of the pain and the sorrow you've experienced, not based off of the mistakes that you've made and the failures that you've had to carry, but based off of God's unending grace. God has chosen you, my friend, chosen you to live an extraordinary life if you just lean into that grace, if you just lean into that call. God chose you. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to let go of those failures. Don't be afraid to let go of those mistakes and that miscommunication. Don't be afraid to let go of all of the weight that holds you down. Because God has called you to something, so much greater. God has called you to love and to hope. God has called you to be the change that we will see in the future. God has called you to be his hands and his feet in a world that are in such desperate need of your love and your compassion. So lean into that call. Don't run away afraid that you might not be big enough, that you might not be strong enough, that you might not be courageous enough to hold the heaviness of that call. Because God holds it for you. God calls you. And God called you before time even began. Because God knows that you have what it takes. So go forth from this place. Go forth from this brokenness, from this weight that has held you down, and be great. Be extraordinary. Be the call and the grace that God has bestowed upon you. Be more.